What's going on, everyone? It's Brandon Turner, host of the Better Life podcast, here alone today, sort of. I got some guests coming in a minute because today I want to talk about one specific topic, and that is what is working for real estate investors in 2025. This is a little bit different show than normally because what I actually did is I called up a bunch of my friends and I said, hey, what's working in 2025? And we put them all together into a podcast. So today we've got four good buddies of mine, people that I absolutely respect and adore. We've got Henry Washington. I love Henry. We've got David Greene, one of my favorite people in the entire world. We've got investor girl Brittany Arnason, and we've got Thach Nguyen. So those four are on today's episode telling us all about what is working for them and the world around them that they see working in 2025. I just got finished all four episodes. We recorded all four, they're like 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes each. Just got finished recording all four, and they were phenomenal. Like, I learned stuff in there, stuff I did not know. So you're going to learn some stuff too, and it might just inspire you to pick out a new strategy. We talk about strategy. We talk about financing, what's working. We talk about what's working with deal finding, like what are people doing to find deals, and more. So hang tight for that. We've got all these coming up right now. So, hey, before I get to them though, real quick, if you enjoy this show, if you think this is valuable, do me a favor. I need two things from you. Number one, are you subscribed to my YouTube channel? Just go to Beardy Brandon on YouTube. Beard with a Y at the end, Brandon on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's where we post all these podcasts. Or second thing is, if you're listening on a podcast app, like the Apple app, podcast app, or Spotify, just subscribe and leave a little rating there and review. Helps us reach more people with the message that you can build wealth through real estate without losing your soul. Now, with that said, I'm going to bring in my four guests one at a time. And then at the end of the episode, I'll talk a little bit in between each one. At the very end of the episode, I'll give you my thoughts on what's working for me in 2025. And I'll share a little bit about that you might not have heard me talk about before. So that's coming up, all that and more. And by the way, last announcement before we get to the interviews, all four of these guests today are actually speakers at the REI Summit, which is happening in Austin, Texas, June 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, 2025. They're all going to be there. So I'm going to ask each one what they're speaking on, just so we get an idea of what they're talking about there. But hey, big announcement though, prices are going up a bunch actually on April 4th. So if you're listening to this episode before April 4th and you've been thinking, oh, maybe I'll go to the REI Summit and go hang out with 1,000 other cool real estate investors, now would be a good time to get your ticket before April 4th when prices go up. So get your ticket now. Go to www.reisummit2025.com. So www.rei, like real estate investing, reisummit2025.com. Come hang out with me and Henry Washington and Thach and David Greene and Brittany Arnason. And Pace Morby will be there, and Jay Papazan, author of The One Thing, will be there. Megan Ahern, the Tatty investor, will be there, and so many more. It's going to be awesome. Where else do you get to go and hang out and just spend 3 days immersed in high-level networking with millionaire real estate investors who are going to help you figure out how to get there? It's the most actionable conference of the year for real estate investors. I hope you can be there. And hey, because it's part of the Better Life Tribe and 100% of our profits go to charity, it's like you can actually do good for yourself while doing good for the world too. So I'm super pumped about it. I'll see you in Austin. With that said, time to get to the show. First, let's hear from Mr. Henry Washington. Henry Washington, dude, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Brandon. Good to see you.
You too, man. So let's jump right into it. Tell us 30 seconds. Who are you? What do you do? Tell us your quick bio.
Henry Washington, real estate investor out of Northwest Arkansas, mostly invest in single-family, small multifamily properties. We have a portfolio of about 110-ish units, and we flip about 20 houses a year.
Dude, I love it. I love it. I love that market too. I've got a few different friends that all invest there. It's a solid market. We're going to tell everyone to go there and just make it impossible for you to buy.
It's already happening. Thank you.
It's like the last bastion of cash flow in America. All right, man. So the goal of this talk is what is working for you this year, 2025? What are you doing? We got four kind of categories. Strategy, like what's working strategy-wise. How are you getting deals? How are you getting money? What's working for money? And then anything else, like what's just working in your life right now?
Yep.
So why don't we just start with the first one? Like what's strategy-wise? What's working?
The strategy that's working, it hasn't really changed much. We're still direct to seller, off market marketing for deals. One of the things that we have done more of recently is marketing specifically for properties that either have big lots or separate lots. Because what I'm finding is I'm able to buy properties and essentially get a lot for free, and I'm just kind of banking land. And a lot of the times we're looking at building on that new land this year, and because I got the land for free, it really helps me, helps the numbers in terms of profitability on the build. So we're probably going to do our first new construction, build to sell and build to rent in 2025.
That's cool. I really like that strategy, the build to rent. I interviewed a woman on my podcast a while ago named Stephanie Betters, and
Mhm.
that's what they do, just by the hundreds, I
Yeah,
think, out in
yeah,
like the East Coast. It's wild, but it's cool because you can kind of
yeah,
design a property based on what you know
yeah.
is going to cash flow well.
Yeah, it's cool, and strategy. This strategy anybody can do. Not the build to rent. That takes a little more skill.
Yeah,
But buying property that has basically free, you can just collect free land. I've probably collected about 10 lots over the past
dude.
couple of years that I'm just sitting on, and sometimes, and it's super beneficial because I've actually been able to buy properties really essentially like feels like you're buying them for free, because in some situations, because I had the extra lot, I was able to sell the property for a higher value and sell that lot to the new buyer, or sell that lot to a developer and then use that money to pay me back for my down payments.
Huh. Are you subdividing the property, like legally subdividing? Is that how that works?
Sometimes if I buy it and it's all in one lot, then we'll subdivide it, and then when I sell the flip on the other piece of land, it pays off my piece of land.
Yeah. How hard is it to subdivide? I've never done a
The
subdivision or
the few
subdividing.
times I've had to do it, it's been fairly easy. It really is going to depend on your municipality. There's weird
Sure.
rules
Yeah.
sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, they have a thing out here in Hawaii called the CPR. I don't know if that's a Hawaii only term,
Mhm.
but it's essentially the same idea. Is you can take a property, divide it in half or in thirds, as long as it has certain things like it's got to have road access,
Yeah.
and then you can sell that off separately. And so there's a strategy here where people will, and then each one can have an ADU on it,
Yeah.
right, or maybe even two. So you could take a big house or a house with a decent amount of land, and then put a separate house on it. And then each of those houses can now have an ADU. So you could essentially turn a single family house into a fourplex legally, and maybe even a sixplex if it's big
If it's a big
enough.
enough plot. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a cool little strategy. I know they're doing that down in like San Diego as well.
Yeah.
A lot of California places are doing the subdivide and put up an ADU. So very cool. All right, well that's a cool strategy, man. Also, flipping still working for you, I assume. I mean, you're still flipping. Is
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
what's that
man.
like right now?
Yeah, flipping. I mean, I think it's what it's supposed to be. I think we all got spoiled.
Yeah,
I started in 2017 when the market was pretty normal, and then went crazy in 2020, and it's been nuts either on one way or the other. It's been nuts over the past few years, but I think it's supposed to be like this. I don't think properties are supposed to sell the second you put them on the market with 100
yeah,
offers and five of them over asking. Like this is, you need to be good at what you do to be profitable.
yeah. Yeah, I remember when I got into flipping back in like 2009,
Yeah.
like 2008, 2009. Yeah, you list a house and you just knew it was going to take 6 to 7 months to get an
Yeah.
offer. Like it was just, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Uh, and it was like, and then, yeah, I got out of flipping because I didn't like that. And then I watched all my friends like, yeah, we flip 100 houses a year now and we get 40 offers on every deal. I'm like, I don't, like, this is crazy. I
Yeah.
got out at the wrong time, apparently. But yeah, I like your take on that. I think we're back to normal. All right. So, what about let's go deal flow. You're still doing, you said, off market stuff. So what's
Yeah.
working with that?
Yeah, the things that are working the best right now are my tried and true direct mail. Hasn't, I mean, I never stop marketing with direct mail, but we're getting a lot more leads through SEO and through Google AdWords. So people are
Mm,
looking to get rid of properties, and if you are where they are looking, then you get to generate those leads. So we focused more on those leads, because those leads, even though I get less of them than I do through mail, they tend to be more profitable because those people are
interesting.
motivated. They're looking for you. And so SEO has been hotter than normal.
Really? That's cool. Do you have a recommendation? Like, what are you using for? Did you build your own website? Are you
Yeah.
using one of the
Carrot.
web companies?
We used Carrot
Carrot.
website, and then we hired a
Very cool.
company that specializes in Google AdWords for real estate
Mm,
investors. And I think that helps. A lot of times people will go out there and hire just a random Google AdWords specialist off like Upwork,
yeah.
but having somebody who understands what that means for real estate investors is important.
Very cool, man. That's smart. Yeah. I just it was on the Carrot podcast yesterday.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
They're
they
great
got
people,
they
man.
got a slick operation over
Yeah.
there. Yeah, good stuff. So cool, man. All right, financing. What's working for money these days for you?
Yep. Again, what I'm typically doing right now is I'm buying on I'm buying on private money or hard money, and then refinancing on DSCR. So
Yeah.
buying it and then putting it on 30-year fixed. I still use local community banks as well sometimes, but I found myself I'm refinancing out of those community bank loans into 30-year fixed. And that's just more for the state I'm in as an investor. I want to get everything on long-term fixed rate debt. And then I'm focusing on paying off assets. So that's just, I don't know that that's the strategy that everybody should be into, but uh, local banks have been amazing to me. I still have a bank who will finance a deal at 100% for me, a local community
Really?
bank. So they're out there, and that's one of the things I can actually talk to people about at our summit.
I love it, man.
All right. What else? Last question. Well, second to last question. What else is just working in your life? This could be business or personal. Like, what's just working? What's firing on all cylinders?
One other thing that's working before we jump into that, one other thing that's working is owner finance, and you can be very strategic in looking for properties with owner finance opportunities. I don't do any like sub two or anything super creative like that, but we do market to owners specifically because they have 100% equity and own an asset type that we like. And so we'll market specifically to them. And I do a little different kind of marketing to those people. I call it networking marketing, because the marketing I send to these people are, hey, I want to learn from you about real estate. You've been in it for a while. Come talk to me over coffee. And then you develop these relationships and buy properties owner finance.
That is so good, man.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I did that early in my career. I mean, like that's how I kind of got a little bit into the game was just building real relationships. I like that networking marketing instead of network marketing. That's clever, man. All right. So what else in your life's working well?
Man, this past, I would say 6 to 8 months, I've put a big focus on just being more present with my kids at home and focusing more on paying attention to the things that my wife needs at home around the house. And our relationship is probably the best it's ever been. It hasn't taken a ton more effort on my part, but the impact has been huge. I read, oh gosh, I'm losing my train of thought. Gosh, can't remember the name of the book, but the whole premise was you can put forth little bits of effort that have small payoffs. So think about things like going for a walk in the morning and getting out in the sunshine. It doesn't take much effort, but the increased sunshine and the kind of boost you get from doing that can be exponentially better for your life. So there are just ways you can think about small things that your spouse might think are important. Typically, they're not going to be that big of a deal to you, but the impact is massive. So that's just something I've tried to be more focused on, and it's paid off.
Cool, man. All right. Last question. What do you plan to speak on at the REI Summit coming up June 1st through 3rd?
Yeah, man, I'd like to talk to people about how they can find the money to finance their deals. I've done it. I've done pretty much every way you can think of to finance a deal, and kind of have figured out what sweet spot works. But really have some great ideas for people around not just where to get the money, but how to structure loans in a way that's the most beneficial for the deal and your financial situation. I think a lot of the times people learn how to finance a deal one or two ways, and they get their little two deal financing hammers, and they're trying to hammer every deal that they find with the one or two ways they know how to take a deal down. But really, it should be about like, what does the deal need, or what does your seller need? And then what does your financial situation call for? And then you piece that together, and you can structure pretty cool deals that are beneficial for everybody.
Very cool, man. I agree. I love it. All right. Where do people connect with you at? Where do you want them to follow you? Where's your social media place of choice?
Instagram's the best place to find me. I'm at the Henry Washington on Instagram.
At the Henry Washington. All right, man. I appreciate you. You're amazing. I can't wait to hang out with you in Austin.
Let's have a good time, man.
All right, that was Henry. Hope you enjoyed hearing a bit about what he's doing, what's working for him. I love that dude. I can't wait to hang out with him in Austin. Remember, REI Summit 2025 tickets are going up. Prices are going up on April 4th. Get your ticket now, reisummit2025.com, and I'll see you there. But that said, let's move on over to our next interview with Mr. David Greene. David Greene, man. Thanks for coming on the show for a quick 5 to 10 minute episode. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. It's nice to see you here. It's always a good day when I get to look at your handsome face.
That's good, man. All right, couple quick questions for you. First of all, I mean, I think everyone knows who you are, but 30 seconds. Who are you? What do you do?
Boy, I do a whole lot of things. I've lived like 4 lifetimes in my short life. I'm a former police officer. I'm a disciple of Jesus. I'm a real estate broker. I'm a real estate investor. I own a couple mortgage companies. I write books. Basically, I do everything that you did, but not as good and half as much.
But much better looking. So, there's that.
Also debatable.
It counts.
I'm more humble than you are. I can say that confidently.
I'm the most humble person in the world, man. I mean, you look up the definition of humble, it's just a handsome picture of me in the dictionary. It's wild. All right. Question for you, David. What is working for you in 2025? Like, there's a lot of things not working. People complain. We've all got hard times. What is working when it comes to like real estate strategy?
I think picking the right market is a big thing that you can finally do right now. For the last several years, man. I mean, probably a decade, really, you could not be very picky about what you bought. And there's markets now where I'm seeing like 7 active listings and 1 pending. That inventory is growing significantly. The buyer pool is kind of hesitant about jumping in. And if you pick the right market, you could get into grade A neighborhoods that you never had any shot of getting into, get really good real estate. You don't have to overpay. You actually can underpay some of the time. You don't have to worry about waiving contingencies. You can take your time and really, really nab a good deal. And then you also have the additional potential upside of rates dropping at some point and sweetening it even more.
I do not disagree, man. What about like finding deal wise? Is there anything that's working right now that you see in the market that's working for finding deals? Is the MLS back? Not yet. What do you think?
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's always going to be some market where it's not going to be applicable, but I would still say the MLS is working at a point now that it hasn't worked. Like, you're literally seeing houses sitting on the market 30, 60, 90, 120 days sometimes, where you can go in there and you can write an aggressive offer, or you can get a property that you just never even would have had a chance of getting. And guess what? Real estate agents are still just as incompetent, as incapable as they've ever been. I mean, I literally had an agent trying to sell one of my homes that never put the square footage of the property into the MLS. And it sat there for several weeks till I finally looked it up and was like, it doesn't even show how many square feet it is. It just shows a couple little lines on Zillow, right? And this is supposed to be a top producer. So if you're out there looking at houses on the MLS like you should be, you finally have a chance to get something rather than having to work through some like shady wholesaler that you don't know and you don't have a relationship with.
I agree. What about for financing? 2025, what works in financing these days? What do you see?
You got more options than you ever did before. You can do conventional loans like you could always do. And if you do a good job with your taxes, your CPA will have the majority of what a lender would need. You've got DSCR loans, which is what I've been using most of the time, where they calculate your income based off of they don't calculate your income. They calculate your ability to borrow based on what the property is going to produce instead of what you yourself are going to produce, which is just a more sensible way of doing a loan if you're buying investment property. Commercial has done this for years, and now it's made its way into residential. But if it's a single family house, you can get a 30-year fixed rate instead of a 25-year AM with like a 5/1 arm or a balloon payment or something that just makes it much harder to buy real estate. I think that's working. And as people are looking to save money themselves, because a lot of people are feeling the crunch of inflation, their expectations of what they need in a property they rent have gone down. It used to be like everybody wanted a swanky condo in downtown Austin and they weren't going to live anywhere else because they were all crushing it in the tech industry and they had so much money. Well, now people are willing to rent a room if they're going to save some money. And they're actually a lot of the time spending more time at their job trying to make more money because times are tough. So it's opened up the door to do stuff like rent by the room and medium-term rentals that you really had a hard time filling those spots when the economy was really good and people were pickier about where they lived.
So true. All right, this is more of a broad question. In your life, 2025, what's working right now for you? Like, what just in your life is working? Could be business, could be personal.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that I am sensing the spiritual battle that we all live in every single day much more than I ever had before. I'm seeing a lot of the things that used to frustrate me about the culture that we live in that you could call toxic or unhealthy. And I'm seeing that there's actual spirits behind that. And there is a battle over the souls of the people that's always existed, but it's heating up. When you look at what some of the like young people are being taught or what they're looking to do, this obsession that everybody has with wanting to be an influencer, the spirit of hope and despair or hopelessness and despair that's sitting over so many people, I'm finally understanding where that comes from. And I'm sort of in a really good place as far as fighting against it, just recognizing what it is and cutting off the roots that has in my own life and the lives of people that are around me. So I'm listening to a lot more sermons. There's a lot of biblical scholars are out there that I didn't know that will actually help break down what the Hebrew and the Greek meant in the Bible. So if that's something you're interested in and you're like, man, my relationship with God is just always up and down, or it's inconsistent, or if I'm being honest, I just feel like God wasn't there for me and I don't really know what that means. I feel like I'm making progress with some of those questions and doubts that I've had, more than what I would have said when business was really good and the economy was really churning along.
That's cool, man. I know I was on your show earlier interviewing. You have if somebody DMs you a certain word, you're starting some group for Christian real estate people, right? Is that how that works?
Yeah, it's just faith. If you send me the word faith, you'll get a link and I'll be doing free webinars to explain it. It's mostly for people that are like, really, if we're just being honest, a lot of Christians that are out there, we don't really know what that word means. A lot of people get burned by somebody who says they're a Christian. There's no Christian police that walk around making sure that if somebody uses that phrase, they're actually doing well. And a lot of people sort of pray what we call the sinner's prayer, where they say, I'm accepting Jesus into my heart. He's been bugging me about it forever. Fine, I guess I'll let him in. I hope he doesn't try to move things around too much. As opposed to when you read the Bible, Jesus was like, hey, are you going to leave everything and follow me? It's a much different perspective. And I think a lot of people pray that sinner's prayer. They go up on that altar call. They hear about Jesus and they know there's something there. They're interested in it, but they don't make a serious effort to follow him. And I recently looked up what the original word for faith meant in the Bible. You and I talked about this. And it's pistis, and it comes from the root word pietho, which is to be persuaded or to persuade. And I realized that the reason so many of us struggle in our faith is we put zero effort into being persuaded that Jesus is even the person that we want to follow. We just prayed some sinner's prayer and hope that magic would settle over us and our life would be different. So this is about people that are like, hey, I want to be serious about that. I want to learn who he is and what it means to follow him. And I want to make that a priority. And I'll be leading group discussions and book reviews and videos and Bible studies themselves.
Very cool, man. I just got finished reading John Mark Comer's Practicing the Way, and it's a lot about that. Like, Christianity shouldn't be, or your faith, shouldn't be just one other part of your life. Like, that is your life, and then everything else gets filtered through that. That's why it's like the way. Like, this is how you live. Anyway, super good.
That's what Christians used to say they were following before they were called Christians.
Yeah, they're following the way.
Yep,
just like
this is the
way of living. Last question. You don't have to know the exact topic necessarily, but REI Summit coming up June 1st through 3rd. You're going to be there hanging out with me. I'm excited about that. What are you talking about these days when you're on stage? What do you think you'll maybe talk about if you've got that planned, or what are you focused on these days when you're teaching people?
A lot of the time I let people throw stuff at me and I answer their questions. I think I spend a lot of time, to be honest, adjusting people's expectations that were set incorrectly and caused them to be discouraged really easily. If you got told that jiu-jitsu was super easy and in 2 months you're going to be tapping out a bunch of tough guys and you're going to have a black belt in 6 months and you're just going to snap your fingers, you're going to be awesome at it, you're going to be very discouraged when you get there. But if you got told this might be one of the hardest things that you ever do, but if you stick with it, it's going to burn away some of the parts of yourself that you hate the most that have been stubbornly sticking with you, you would probably passionately pursue it. And I think real estate investing is very similar in the sense that the last 10 years, we had such a crazy hot market. We had so much inflation. We had so much stimulus in the economy that bad investors could still make a lot of money. And it was just the thing that everybody wanted to go do. And I don't even know if the market's bad right now. I think it's just not too easy. It's just normal.
Yeah, it's normal. Yeah.
And that feels crushing to so many people that never learned the fundamentals, that never got good, that just jumped into it and did really well. And I don't want people to feel gaslit. I don't think people should be walking around thinking that they're the only one that sucks. It's just, it was never meant to be as easy as it was. Now we're in more of reality. So I spend a lot of time helping people understand that it's normal that your property doesn't cash flow in the first year. It might not cash flow in several years. And if you make good choices with your money, it's a slow and steady growth. It shouldn't be like an exponentially fast rise. And honestly, sometimes that's the worst thing that could happen to you when you have success that comes too easy. So that, and then I also spend a lot of time talking to people, not when I'm on stage, just when I'm walking around. I love it when people bring me the stuff that they're afraid to tell other people. Like if it's about faith, the doubts they've always had, things that cause them to stumble in their faith, things that have stopped them from moving forward. The same thing when it comes to real estate investing. I like having those difficult conversations that scare other people because I feel like that's where the real fruit is.
I love it, man. Yeah, it's one thing I love about the RES Summit and any conference like you and I go to. Like, we're not the guys that like fly in, get ushered in the back room, go out and speak on stage, and then disappear back on our private jets, which we don't have. It's like you and I just literally just hang out the entire time, sitting in the coffee shop, sitting in the lunch area, walking through the sessions. Like, we're literally just there the whole time. So appreciate you coming and hanging out this time again. So.
Yeah, I look forward to it. If you guys are thinking about going, you should definitely go, get your ticket, hang out with us there, and bring me your difficult problems. And tell Brandon who you think the best speaker at the event was. It's always something as the host of an event, you're like, I don't really know what people thought, and no one ever wants to tell you. So like, let him know who bombed and who crushed it.
Yeah, who was the best speaker and why was it David? I don't know. All right, man. Appreciate you. Where do you want people to follow you at? Where do they connect with you?
Follow me at David Greene 24 on Instagram, or follow the David Greene Show on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube.
Perfect. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, bro.
All right, that was Mr. David Greene. I love that dude. Every time I get to hang out with David, it's always a great time. So reminder, David will be there at the REI Summit. So get your ticket now before prices go up, reisummit2025.com, and I will see you in Austin. Now, let's hear from Miss Brittany Arnason, Investor Girl Brit. Brittany Arnason, how you doing?
I'm very good. How are you doing?
I am fantastic. I think you are in the coolest place in the world right now. You're at a hotel that you own, aren't you?
Yep. Here in Belize. It's the best.
That's so cool. I didn't know you had internet down there in Belize. That's amazing. Good job.
Yes. There's a lot going on.
Thanks for coming out here on the show. I'm super pumped to talk with you. We'll get this done real quickly because we want to get people on with their day, but we want to fill them in with what's working on 2025 in real estate right now. So let's start with, for those who don't know who you are, 30 seconds. What are you? What do you do? Who are you? Where are you at? All that good stuff.
Of course. So my name is Brittany Arnason, or better known as Investor Girl Brit on Instagram. So be sure to follow me there because me and Brandon have a bet to 500,000 followers.
Yeah, I'm at 420 right now. What are you at?
He's getting close. I think it's 270. So please help me. Please, everybody listening to this, unfollow Brandon.
Unfollow me and follow Brittany. Yep. Okay.
Investor Girl Brit. There you go.
Perfect.
So I started investing in real estate when I was 18 years old. I bought 13 single family homes, DIY'd everything, tool belt and all. So property management, just the whole thing. Drove myself a little bit crazy in doing that in the process. So now I focus on commercial real estate, specifically storage and hotels. And I'll talk about that more in a minute, why I love it so much. But I'm building real estate investing businesses. And this is not DIY everything like I used to do. I also run... What's up?
Are you still doing a little DIY though? Like,
oh yeah,
you can't take it out of us, right? Like we both do it. It's like, it's for fun. It's
and the big difference in that is that it's a choice. When I was doing it for 10 years by myself, it's because I had to, and I had no other choice. And then if I left the project stopped. But now with what Brandon and myself can do, it's, hey, this sounds like a fun idea. I'm going to make our hotel in Belize is called Mariposa, which is butterfly in Spanish. So now I'm doing all these beautiful butterfly projects, and it just like feeds my soul. I love doing that stuff, but I don't have to, right? So that's the big difference in when I was buying all those single family homes for 10 years. I was doing that, sleeping in my van, making it happen.
That's funny. I put a post that I got, and I actually was inspired from this post from something Cody Sanchez put out there, but then I tweaked it a little bit, and it was like the best post I've ever put out on Twitter and then on Instagram. And it basically said there's 3 levels of rich. It's like you mow your own lawn, and then you don't mow your own lawn, and then the 3rd level is you mow your own lawn again. And I love that concept, right? Like when you're rich enough to not have to mow your lawn, like sometimes you just want to mow your lawn. So yeah. Anyway, all right. What is working for you in 2025 right now? Let's talk strategy first. Like, what strategies do you like for this market?
Yeah. So I'm all in on storage and hotels and building those businesses. And a huge point and thing people have to be paying attention to is the majority of these properties are owned by baby boomers. And these are people who are retiring. And that means there's this huge opportunity to take over these properties that are most likely mismanaged. So in storage, we are buying mom and pop facilities. We're adding value with tech, with automation, with marketing, and getting more customers through the door. So a lot of the mom and pop, they don't even have a website, right? So there's huge opportunity in that. Same with hotels. We're creating these Instagrammable, experience-driven boutique stays in unique destinations like this one here in Belize, which has just been such a fun project. And hotels was not on my radar, but now that I've been in them, I absolutely love it. And there's so much opportunity in that as well. So what I love about both of these assets is the opportunity to add multiple income streams. So as storage, you could have locks, keys, insurance, boxes. Like there's lots of different ways you could be creative to add multiple income streams. And same with hotels. You could have gift shops, events, food and beverage, spa packages. It's just endless what you could have with these properties. And so it's a lot different from if you have one single family home, one house, you can't really
Yeah,
add something like that.
that's
Same
so
with
true.
Airbnb. So they're way more scalable. There's a lot of extra cash flow, which means you don't have to be the one DIY renovating it all day. Like I have an incredible team here that can help me do all of this. And I have investors on my team. I'm not putting all my own money into the deals. There's just a lot more opportunity to be creative the bigger deals you start to do.
So good. So good. We need to we need to have you back on the show and do a full like hour and a half breakdown on that because that was phenomenal. So whenever you're ready to come out to Maui and come hang out on the show,
Oh,
or I
yeah.
suppose we could do it in Belize or over the internet, but that's no fun. So we'll get it done. All right. What about deal flow? Like what works in 2025 for getting deals on whether it's storage or I mean anything really, hotels, storage. What's working for you?
So deal flow really the best thing is building a personal brand because you never have to worry about deal flow ever again. And you could probably attest to this too, but I have not had to look for a deal. All of my storage deals, Instagram, all my
Mm.
hotel deals through my networks. I haven't had to look for a deal in 5 years. And I honestly have so many deals at my on my plate that I can't handle all of them. So I get to pick and choose. But that was through years of building this personal brand. In doing that, you really have to have this clear idea of what your buy box actually is. So people know who you are and what you're looking for. And I'll get texts all day. Here, I was driving past a storage facility. I noticed that, the owners are absent. Are you interested? And then I'll send it to, because I have a community of self-storage investors and hotel investors too. So if it's not for me, I'll send it to my groups as well. But that
That's
deal
cool.
flow is just constant.
That's awesome. I love it's so true. It's so true. All right. What about financing wise? What's working for financing for money? I know that's a little more difficult in those spaces.
Well, I don't know if it's difficult or not. I actually found
Okay.
it
Yeah.
to
Tell me.
be well, what's funny too is when I was doing my single family homes, I did that for 10 years, got to 13, but I actually was having trouble getting financing because they were
Mm,
just basing it solely off me as an individual, right? When you get into commercial real estate, I was shocked because the banks were looking at the property itself. What's your business plan? What is this property making? What's the net operating income? What are you going to do to invest in this property to increase that income? So once you get into commercial real estate, there's so many more ways, and I find it so much easier to raise capital for a commercial real estate deal where
mm.
there's more money to be made, more ways to split that up rather than the single family home way that I did for a very long time. So I just find there's a lot more creativity in these deals with seller financing, with partnerships, with syndications, with all these different structures that you can get into these deals. I've been now a part of 10 self-storage facilities, 2 hotels, and I got into all of that with none of my own money. So
Yeah.
something that is was very shocking to me. I didn't think I'd be in this position, but through like my tip before, building that personal brand and getting yourself out there, the financing becomes a lot easier as well.
Very cool. All right. Well, a couple more questions for you. First of all, what else is just working for you? And anything else that you're just like, this is just going really well right now for me. I really like this in 2025.
Well, 2025, like I really am all in on both storage and hotels. What I would say is what's important is just you told me this, Brandon. There's a lot of things that I think in my head that you've told me over the years, but it's more important that you decide than what you decide. So
Oof,
if
yes.
storage sounds exciting to you, self-storage is great. You can automate it, you could delegate it. It's a lot hands off, right? Go to storage and put your blinders on and don't think about anything else. If hotels sounds exciting and maybe you have experience in short-term rentals and Airbnbs, but you're like, I have this desire that I want to scale up. Like Airbnbs are getting shut down all over the place. That market is really tough. So if you have this experience and have this, skill set in the short-term rental world, now I'm realizing that through all of that, through all my Airbnbs, through the unique stays, through the design, through the marketing, I have a lot of skills in this asset class. And now I'm just focused on that, going all in on that. So I think in 2025, it's more important that you decide than what you decide, but then just go all in, go for it. Find mentors that can help you, get around people that are thinking bigger. That's what helped me so much in 2019, where I switched from my DIY, do everything yourself, single family home world. I was working on a $28,000 house when I went out to Maui Mastermind with Brandon there. And it was a huge pivotal moment in my life because I was around people doing these huge deals. My current business partner, AJ Osborne, who I've done the 10 self-storage facility with, meeting him and then being around people in these rooms, I'm like, I'm spending so much time on this small home, making, a few $100 a month, which is great, right? I'm so glad I started like that. I'm so glad I built that business and started that way. I was able to grow my Instagram, all that, doing it that way. But the amount of effort I put in to one single family home compared to the amount of effort that I now put into a hotel deal, it's minimal. And I make 10 times more money. So thinking bigger sooner. I said that on your Bigger Pockets podcast. And I don't know what year that was, 270, I think, a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
So when I was on that, I said that line, thinking bigger sooner, and I had a lot of people reach out to me about that. And I just think it's something people need to really take seriously too, because a lot of the time we're selling ourselves short, and that's from my own experience. And it took me getting out to Maui, getting around people that were thinking a lot bigger, that made me believe in myself and made me believe that that was possible.
That's so good. Well, speaking of that, then getting in the right room and getting around those people, you're going to be speaking at the REI Summit, June 1st through 3rd. I'm super pumped to have you come out to Austin. So thank you for coming. What are you going to be talking about there? What do you want to talk about there?
Yeah, so I'm going to talk about how to scale with strategy in storage and hotels. And so I want to talk about real numbers, real stories, how I went from that DIY to multiple $1 million deals and the process it took to get me there.
Very cool. I'm looking forward to that a ton. So thank you. And last question, where do people connect with you at? Besides Instagram, we don't want them to go there because we don't want you to be
All I care about is that you guys follow me on Instagram at Investor Girl Brit, please, and unfollow Brandon if you have to, so I don't have to lose this bet. Even though I won the first 3, but
yeah, you did win the first 3. I'm winning this one. I'm getting close. All right, Brittany, you're amazing. Thank you so much. I'll see you in Austin.
Sounds good. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Brandon.
All right. That was Investor Girl Brittany Arnason. I love that strategy that she talked about. I really love the idea of hotels, especially. I mean, I don't own any hotels myself, and it's like a shiny object for me. So I'm not doing it right now, but I love the idea of it. I really am a big fan. We interviewed Blake Daly on the show a few months ago, and we talked all about that. It just always fires me up to hear about that. So someday maybe I'll get into that. But we're not quite done yet. We've got one more interview with another friend of mine who I absolutely love his strategy, what he's about to talk about. So you're going to get a kick out of this. So, and a reminder, both Britt and the upcoming guest, Thach, you're going to hear both of them at the REI Summit. So come hang out with us at the REI Summit. With that said, let's hear from Thach. Thach, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for coming on.
Always honored, baby. Always honored to be here.
I love your clapping. I love the enthusiasm, man. I love it. All right, dude. For those who don't know who you are, maybe they haven't listened to our episode we did together of this show, give us a 30-second bio. Who are you? What do you do?
I am a real estate investor. real estate developer. I live in Seattle, and I'm a philanthropist, and I do a lot of work with nonprofit work around the Puget Sound right now.
Oh, that's so good, man. I love that. By the way, how's the weather in Seattle right now? Is it still raining? Is it
That's
still
fantastic. It's cozy.
really? Okay, cozy. We're gonna go with cozy. It's a good word. I actually, ever since I moved, I actually kind of like crave like rain and gray clouds and all that. Now it's like too much
Yeah.
sun, which is
Well,
a
we,
weird
we,
thing to say.
we definitely got those today. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I don't need them. I'm happy with my rain or my sun right now. But with that said, man, let's dive into this thing. What's working in 2025 for you right now when it comes to? We'll start with strategy. Like, what strategies seem to be working right now for you?
For me right now is buying older home on a lot that's at least 5,000 square feet and single family, even small multifamily. And right now, before June come up, if you got a 5,000 square foot lot single family, you put the house in the front, remodel it. Typically, I pay about 600 grand. I put about 150,000 into it. It's worth usually about 8 or 900,000 in Seattle. I put down 20%, 25% to buy those. I pretty much break even the front house,
Okay.
right? But the back is all free and clear.
Yep.
And I put a 1,000 square foot ADU, cost me 350, is worth 700, 750. 350, I get 100% financing now because now banks are doing 100% financing with permits with ADU.
Really?
Yes, sir.
That's awesome.
And we rent them out for like 3,500, 4,000 bucks, and they're worth like double the price. And starting this June, and Seattle leading it, it's going to happen across America. Now they're talking about even raising the density even higher on the same lot in the back. Instead of putting one, they allow you to put two in the back now.
Dude, yeah, that's gonna be a game changer.
Game changer.
Dude, I love the ADU strategy right now. It's one of my favorites that I keep talking about. I mean, Hawaii's been on this train for, 50 years out here, 100 years.
Yes.
And then, now that you see Washington catching up, Oregon's got some stuff, California's got legislation, like a ton of stuff has passed. Look at San Diego's nuts right now.
Any moment right now, they're about to pass this bill where they get separate parcel number.
Interesting.
Yeah. And the moment you get parcel number separate, you get planted permit and it sit by itself. Bank will do 100% financing for it. No money out of your pocket.
Wow. Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. Well, how are you finding these deals? What's working for finding these kind of deals this year?
Well, for me, I have a team that go out there and they market, they call, they text, they flyers, blanket the city area where it has it. And then, of course, I work with a lot of realtor. I work with a lot of wholesaler. I work with a lot of other investors. I work with a lot of bankers. And then just a lot of social media. People know I buy property. And that's what's working. And I think if people just go out there and just do it with the right intention, they always find it.
Yeah. It's funny.
You got to be clear on what you're looking for too. That's the key.
That is so clear. Yeah. Like, I have a class I teach called First Deal, right? And like the first thing we make everyone do is like define their buy box, or I call it crystal clear criteria. Because like most people just don't actually know what they want. They haven't decided.
Yeah,
and that's the biggest bottleneck.
I like to get some of this.
Yes. Yeah. It's like, but they just, I want a deal. Okay. Well, what kind of deal? A deal. Okay. Yeah. Great. Right. Yeah. Good luck on that.
I feel like when someone is crystal clear on exactly what it is, as they speak it into existence, as they speak to other people, as they tell people, they find it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's actually one of the reasons why I like the ADU strategy is because you can pull public data on the size of a property and the size of a lot. You can see it's a single family house. You can build that because now you're very clear on what you want. Now you can go out and find it. When I'm in a room of people, like you and I are in a room together, hanging out with all of our buddies, nobody at all has the problem of not finding deals. No. Like I just did a mastermind last week in Tahoe where they had like 30 of us, or I don't know, 25 of us in a room, all real estate investors. And I asked the question, like, how many of you guys are struggling finding deals right now? Not a single hand went up. No. Yet you get in a room of newbies and you're like, how many of you are struggling to find a deal? Every hand goes up.
Every hand.
Isn't that fascinating, right? Like that, so either there's deals or not deals.
Yeah, and that's to show you when you think about it, is just clarity of intention.
Yeah. So true. Actually,
Yeah.
maybe a good metaphor for that, I bet, is like if you get in a room of fitness influencers, everybody's got a six pack, everyone's attractive, and you're like,
Right.
how many of you guys like think it's hard? You know, it's you don't really know how to get in shape. Nobody's
Right.
gonna raise their hand, of course. Like that's easy to them. It's simple
Right.
to them. Maybe not
Right.
easy, maybe simple. But you get a room of other people, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of different. I'm not really sure if I do keto or should I do, the carnivore diet or vegan. It's
Right.
like it doesn't
Yeah.
really matter.
No matter.
They
You
all
pick one.
work.
It works.
It works. Just you got to pick one, decide,
Yeah.
and go all in on it. So
What's crazy also, Brandon, is like in San Diego now, and every city has got their own little version on how they
Yep.
want to create density. San Diego has an area where they have ADU, but in certain pocket, they have this thing called bonus program
yeah,
where you can get, instead of one in the back, you can get 3 or 4 in the back if the
Yep.
yard is big enough.
yeah. It's
And
like
Seattle
50% of
has a
the
similar-
yard can be ADUs.
Yeah,
Something like that. It's
seriously. You
wild.
know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think that that's the new move for the future for figuring out how to create more affordable housing
Yep.
for sale or for rent, and how to get through how to create more inventory for people to buy and to sell. I mean, that's
Yep.
the biggest thing, and really work on affordability.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I think that the ADU thing is one of the biggest levers that the government has right now to try to solve affordability.
Yeah.
And every city, like you said, it's coming everywhere. Like
So anyway,
California generally leads the charge, and they were the kind of one of the first. Hawaii, California, Washington, Seattle. It's coming. All the major cities. So if we can get ahead of that, yeah, huge opportunity there. For
right
sure.
now, my student, they do an ADU in Orlando, Tampa, Atlanta, Las Vegas, Denver, Arizona, Washington, California, New Jersey also.
Dude,
Yeah.
wild. So good. I
It's
love
hot.
it, man. I love it. All right. Well, hey, what's working? We talk about some of the financing stuff. We talk about finding deals. We talk about strategy. What about in your personal life? What's working right now? Like, what's just firing you up and it's working for you?
Yeah, for me right now, I'm turning 55 here in May.
35, you said?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right here. And what's working for me is like fitness.
Ooh, yeah.
I really want to focus and stay fit, healthy, clear-minded
Yep.
as I enter into the 50s and the 60s. Right now, I love to make money because it's just part of growth.
Yep.
But fitness, you got to put a little work to it.
Yeah.
It's almost something that you put almost like on the back burner, right?
Yep.
I've been working out all my life. I play sports all my life. But I just noticed as I get older, I got to put a little more intention behind it because I want to stay fit. I want to stay flexible. I want to stay rigid. I want to stay strong. I want to stay lean. And I gotta work at it. And I have a weigh-in every Friday with my coach. You know what I mean?
Nice.
To make sure that I hit certain goal. And I feel like as I stay strong and lean and have that something to work for in my fitness, it keeps myself sharp and it spills over everything else.
Yeah. Very cool, man. I love it. What's your favorite workout thing right now? Are you gym? Are you CrossFit? What do you do?
Right now I have personal training on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Tuesday and Thursday we have what they call circuit workout. It's almost like CrossFit, but they don't have to do all the crazy power launches, but it's circuit workout. You know what I mean? Very similar to there's a thing called High Rock right now. That's hot.
Yeah. I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have High Rock in our gym.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. All right. Well, 2 more final questions. I don't know if you have the topic nailed down perfectly, but what do you want to talk about the REI Summit? What are you kind of leaning towards? What are you speaking on stage these days about? What's going to be your emphasis?
Yeah, I think I'm going to share with people because the question people always ask me is, how did you start it and how did you get here? Or they say, what would you say to your 20-year-old self? You have to look back. And so I'm going to share with people my biggest life lesson in real estate, right? That I learned standing at 54 years old. Well, by the time I see you, it'll be 55, looking back, and then share what was my biggest lesson on my journey from going from $0 to $100 million with real estate today.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Dude, that's going to be so good. I'm so excited. All right, man. Where do people follow you at? Where do you want them to connect with you and learn more from you?
Is just follow me on Instagram, my name, Thach Nguyen, and YouTube, Thach Nguyen. That's it.
All right, dude. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on today, and we'll see you in Austin, man.
We'll see you guys in Austin. Peace out.
See you in Austin. All right. Man, I love ADUs. I love that concept. And I love the energy that Thach brings. I love just the clapping and the fired up. Like he fires everybody up. I love that. I love him. He's been on the podcast as well. So make sure you go listen to his full episode. It was super good. Man, really, really good. So that's Thach Nguyen. And with that said, I said I would end the show with telling you a little bit about what's working for me. So what's working for me in 2025, first of all, mobile home parks, not a big shock there, still are working really well. And my self-storage, I have mobile home parks and self-storage are both ticking up into the right. Like they're both doing really well this year, surprisingly. Multifamily is doing okay too, but multifamily is a harder slog because of the supply and demand issues. In other words, this is overbuilt in a lot of the cities that I buy in. And so there's a lot of supply. So rents are a little bit flat, but mobile home parks have been crushing it. My team has been knocking out of the park there. That's another thing that's working for me is just teams. Being a better leader means hiring better people, like good, qualified, great people. And I'm trying to be a better leader by hiring good people. And I've hired some amazing people. That's working really well for me, the who, not how stuff. Also, I bought a couple rent by the room properties. One of my favorite kind of companies up and coming is called Pad Split. You can learn more about them, padsplit.com. I interviewed the founder, Atticus, on the show recently. And I've got 2 of those, and I can't say they're working really well for me yet because I haven't got them rented yet. We are in the middle of a big rehab on both of them. Actually, one of them's almost done. One should be rented, like getting online like this week or next week. The other one's got a couple of weeks left on the rehab, but kind of my goal for Q2, and by the time we get to the RES Summit, is actually to have those things fully rented and running. I'll tell you more about it in person there. As for things like financing, DSCR loans are working great. Everything I do right now, like not on the big stuff, but on the smaller stuff, like DSCR loans are great. They're easy to get. The rate, I just got a 6.75%, which is really like comparable to every other bank and everything, but way less paperwork, way easier to get, way more simple. So if you're interested, by the way, in a DSCR loan, that's literally most of what we do at my loan company. I have a lending company. It's called Better Life Ref. REF stands for Real Estate Funding. So you can go to betterliferef.com to, I guess, learn more about DSCR. But that's just working really well for me. That's not meant to be a pitch or anything. And there's a lot of companies that do DSCR loans, but I really like DSCR loans a lot right now. The one downside DSCR loans have is they usually have a prepayment penalty. And where a typical bank loan won't. So if you're only going to flip a house or something like that, don't do a DSCR loan. But for me, long-term rentals, pad split stuff, it's been working really, really good. And when it comes to finding deals, partnerships, like, I mean, other people alluded to that on the show, but like the deal in Atlanta, actually both deals, the deal in Atlanta came from actually a student of mine who's in First Deal. So firstdeal.com, we teach people how to get their first deal. One of those students brought me the deal and we partnered together on it. We bought it. And no, I can't promise I can partner with everybody who joins First Deal. So if you plan to join, don't expect that. But I really like this deal. And I knew the guy. We were already had an existing relationship. I knew his work ethic. His name's Scott. He's awesome. We'll bring on the podcast sometime. And the other deal came from a friend who's a real estate agent. He actually found the deal as an agent and was like, hey, you should really look at this. And so both of them came through like friendships or connections. So all that said, that's all I got. So my little brother's calling me, so I'm going to answer the phone right now and I'll say goodbye to all of you. So have a great day. Enjoy your time, and I'll see you at the REI Summit 2025, reisummit2025.com.
Hey, do you want to know the fastest way to level up your real estate investing? Get your goals quicker? It's not watching some other YouTube video, though I'm sure you can learn there. It's not scrolling social media, though I hope you learn there. It's getting in the room with people who are actually doing real estate. And there's one room in 2025 you cannot afford to miss, the REI Summit, June 1st through June 3rd in Austin, Texas. Now, this isn't your typical sit and take notes conference. The REI Summit is about walking away with real tactics and strategies that you can implement immediately, whether you're landing your first deal or you're scaling your portfolio to this next level. In fact, just like last year, every session begins with the word how to. Because you're not there to be entertained. You're there to learn new tips, new strategies, new ideas, to meet new people, and to take those things back home with you and use them to build more wealth and passive income so you can live a better life. But here's the thing. Prices are going up, and we regularly are going to keep raising prices as we get closer to the event. So don't wait. Lock in your spot right now before it's too late. To register, go to reisummit2025.com or go to my Instagram, Beardy Brandon, shoot me a DM that just says Summit, SUMMIT, and I'll send you all the information. This event will be the game-changing event that you've been waiting for. I'll see you in Austin. And that, my friends, is the show. Thank you for tuning in. And hey, before you go, if you enjoyed this episode or if you just enjoy the show in general, please consider leaving us a rating and review wherever you listen to podcasts. We really do value your feedback, and we read the comments. We make future decisions about topics and guests and everything else. Plus, it helps us reach more people, and the more reviews we get, the more people hear it and watch the show and share it, and it's awesome. Last but not least, please head over to social media. Consider befriending me, following me, subscribing to all that stuff at Better Life and my personal page at Beardy Brandon, especially over on Instagram, YouTube, and really everywhere else. So thank you again for listening. I'm honored that you would bring me along on your journey toward building wealth through real estate investing without losing your soul. Now, this show is about living a better life, but if you want my opinion on what it takes to live the best life ever, just go to abetterlife.com/best life to hear some of my views on life and spirituality. I think you'll like it. abetterlife.com/best life. With that said, thanks for listening to the show. We'll see you next week.